Berg and Maximus. One hand. Straight at it. Welcome to the Disc Golf Nerd Channel. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my updated 2022 review of the Kastaplast Berg. This is a extremely unique disc, and it is one that I tested right when it hit the market years ago now. I reviewed it. I liked it then. I like it now. It's still not in my bag. We'll talk about some of those reasons why, but it's one of those discs that anybody can use and get effective shots out of it. It's extremely unique in the way it behaves and the way it's designed. So let's take a look at this thing and let's get into it. Kastaplast Berg, and the flight numbers 1, 1, 0, and 2. Is it really a 1 for glide? Yeah, it probably is. If it was 1, 2, 0, 2, I wouldn't really argue with that either. You can get some flight out of this thing depending on the circumstances, but for the most part, it is very slow and really, it definitely has no natural turn, so the 0 is spot on. It does have some fade depending on the angle, but you can also get it to fly with absolutely no fade whatsoever. And we'll take a look at that a little bit later on. So one of the most defining characteristics of this disc is that it kind of has a thumb track, but it really doesn't. It has that indentation there that's kind of just like the dead center kind of puddles up, raises up into the middle, and then it has that legit puddle there. It's very interesting. Like, it would for sure hold water if you were to put it on a surface and pour some water on top of it. It would make a little pond on top of this disc because of that indentation. And then if you look at the front of it, it's got that really super soft edges, very blunt nose vibe to this disc. Let's take a look at it from the underside here. It has a tiny bit of flashing on that underside, but not much. And yeah, you can see that it's not super shallow, nor is it really deep. It's kind of average depth, but it has a lot of mass and bulk on that rim, but it's all very soft and smooth contours that feel really nice in the hand. The way my thumb goes into that dip there, nice smooth contours on the inside of my grip there. It's a very comfortable feeling disc in the hand. This one is in the K1 soft plastic, as you saw earlier, so it's very grippy, very gummy, feels amazing. This plastic dies unbelievably well. I think that's part of the reason why the Kastaplast stuff has gotten popular over the last few years in particular, is because a ton of people got into disc dyeing, and this stuff is kind of legendary for that. This one might get dyed eventually, but this kind of really nice, bright, shiny, opaque plastic is honestly about as good as it gets in terms of keeping an eye on the disc as well. Like, this bright, shiny white plastic is really easy to find in the woods. There's not a lot of things in nature that are bright white, certainly not with this much diameter to it. Maybe a little flower or something here and there, a trillium in the forest out here in Pacific Northwest. But for the most part, yeah, this a great color for a disc for sure. Recently, it was announced that is it Kastaplast? I'm not exactly sure. I'm just trying my best here, but it has recently been announced that Kastaplast will be made by Latitude 64 in part of their production facility in Sweden. So they will be making dynamic discs, Westside discs, their own line from Latitude 64, the Discmania discs, and also the Kastaplast lineup. So Latitude 64 is kind of taking over the world a little bit. They make amazing stuff, and I have no doubt that they'll do a great job continuing on with the feels and the forms that you guys are accustomed to and familiar with in terms of your favorite Kastaplast molds. I wouldn't worry about it at all. I have full faith that Latitude 64 can reproduce this stuff as well as anybody in the world. They certainly have the facilities for it. So that is just one thing to note, though, that soon, I believe, at least some portion of their manufacturing will be taken over by Latitude 64. So let's put it up next to a couple other options, as we like to do, starting with the disc that I believe was the main reason I didn't bag the Berg in the first place when I originally tested it, is because I think I was already throwing Caltrop, And a phenomenal disc that I still probably like a little bit better than the Berg, just on a sentimental level. Disc that I've had a lot of throws with in my career, and one that I just barely stopped throwing about a year ago because I learned forehand, and I find that there are a couple other discs that I like and find to be a little bit more versatile for forehand shots. But you can see the Caltrop also has that very blunt edge, much more flat on top than the Berg. The Berg has that puddle. Put them next to each other here. You should be able to see both very soft-edged, blunt-nosed discs, both very slow. Caltrop does not have flight numbers listed on it. I'd have to look that up. I'm not sure I care enough. You guys can Google that if you want to at any time, of course. And the Caltrop has that much more classic style of thumb track, kind of like a Rhino or Pig or something like that. Moving on from there, the disc that is in my bag right now, in a roll that pretty much prevents either of those discs from being needed, which is the harp. This is a VIP harp that I bagged for a while. I'm bagging a slightly different one now, but this one is still pretty sweet, so I figured I'd use it for comparison's sake. And as you look at the side-by-side with the harp, always hard to get this lined up well. Harp definitely has a little bit more shallow feel. It's faster. It definitely carries farther. It has more fade to it as well, but especially this VIP ones, they're not that stable to the point where you can definitely get a pretty similar vibe overall out of the harp. I don't find that I need both of them. My buddy Dave, who will be throwing some shots with the Berg in this video here, he does use both of them, and he uses them really effectively. The Berg is more for straight all the way, go for it shots. If he wants to run the basket, he just throws the Berg straight at it because it is so slow and so low glide, it really doesn't want to go past the basket very much. So it's really effective for that, for sure. But for me in particular, I am using the Luft Discs Hydrogen and a harp, and I have the 3D printed Mr. Putt from NSH Customs in my bag as well. Let's put it up next to this guy real quick, just for a real wild look. Just a super unique disc, the Mr. Putt. That one is in my bag also. Real quick, before we get into the flight videos, I wanted to give a shout out to my main sponsor, Upper Park Disc Golf. Team Upper Park, it's been an awesome experience. I've loved being on the team for sure. And a lot of people have used my code to get bags, and everybody that I've spoken to absolutely loves the bags. I've gotten a lot of great feedback from everybody. So if you're interested in anything from upperparkdiscgolf.com, please consider using my code DiscGolfNerd10 at checkout. You get 10% off your order. Directly helps support me and the channel and the stuff that we do here, so I appreciate it very much. Thanks to Upper Park. Thanks to all of you guys for your continued support. And let's talk about the flight of the Berg. Ultra unique disc, and I think its best attribute is its ability to fly straight without fading off of the line, without turning naturally at all. And it also kind of automatically checks up on the distance. Like, you can pretty much buy a Berg, go out to a field, throw it a few times, and you're going to know how far you're able to throw it. You're not going to be able to throw it very far at all. It will fly a little bit. As we said, if it was a 2 for glide, I wouldn't argue with that personally based on this K1 Soft that I'm testing here. I don't think it's not like a brick where it just drops straight out of the sky and just falls down. But what's interesting about it is that it doesn't really fade much. It likes to land flat, which is a very interesting attribute for a disc, and it's really effective to use for your approach disc in that way. My buddy Dave, who you've seen throw a few shots here in the flight footage, he uses this disc alongside the harp because he just rips this thing straight at the basket, and he knows it's not going to go super far. So even if you completely miss metal, you're not going to go much farther than maybe circle's edge at most, unless you're getting real crazy and you have like no touch. You can pretty much just throw it straight at the basket, hope it goes in, and if it doesn't, you're probably going to be within 25 feet or so. So if you're confident making those inside the circle putts, it's going to be a disc that gets you into the range of hitting those all the time and very consistently. So if you want something that you can throw straight without worrying about it flipping, it's very torque resistant where you can lay into it and it doesn't flip up, it doesn't turn naturally at all, but it also doesn't really you know, hook up strong and fade off of the line either. The Berg definitely gets the job done, but you might want to pair it with something that has a little bit more fade depending on your needs and certain shot shapes and stuff. Very slow and accurate. I think you guys would definitely like it if you check it out. I'm also willing to bet a lot of you checking out this review right now are already fans of the Berg and just want to hear what I have to say about it. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you all very much. Big shout out to the Disc Golf Nerd Patreon support team as well. Those people that just continue to support me and hook me up with a little bit of extra financial help that really goes a long way. So if you like and enjoy the content, please consider signing up to my Patreon. It starts at only $2 and you'll be a member of the team and be in the credits of all my videos. And you'll have my eternal gratitude as well. That's got to have some value, correct? Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to everybody who supports me. Thank you to myself for buying this Berg to show off to you guys. And I will talk to you all very soon. Cheers.